Roughriders at Commonwealth. Both teams looking to get off to good starts after busy off seasons. The Edmonton Elks went out and got a bunch of weapons for their young quarterback, Taylor Cornelius. The Riders went out, headlined a free agent class with a quarterback.
Yeah, just one of three quarterbacks to throw for over 4,000 yards last year. That was Trevor Harris for Montreal a year ago. He's done it 5 times, and he's now the starting quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a team he's wanted to play for a long, long time. It's year 3 for Taylor Cornelius. The win-loss record, not real impressive, but he's got every throw in the book, a heavy arm, and people are expecting big things from Taylor Cornelius here in Edmonton this year.
It has been well noted that Chris Jones and his team not able to pick up a win at home last season. 1-11 within the division last year as well, something that they will certainly want to do better. On the other side, Craig Dickinson, in his 4th year, he's actually 6-1 against Edmonton in his time with the Riders. Pretty good crowd for this Sunday opener here in Edmonton at Commonwealth. It's been almost 1,400 days. You have to go back to October of 2019 to find the last win for the home side here. The Riders, an excellent start last season, 4-1 in their first 5 games, and then struggled down the stretch. Both of these teams ready to get going, as are we. A high kick will be taken at the 20 and brought back up to about the 35 on the return. And there's a look at the big fella, Taylor Cornelius.
Completed 57% of his passes last year, threw for just shy of 3,000 yards, and showed us last year that he can run very well outside of the pocket. I was injured late in the season, more on that as the game goes on, but year 3, that transition year where it all slows down for you. We'll see if it does for Taylor Cornelius.
Was the only quarterback in the league to lead his team in rushing yards last year with just over 500. Starts with the ball on his own 35, hands it off to Brown, and a short pickup for this Edmonton Elks starting offense.
Cornelius has some weapons. They went out and Edmonton got aggressive in free agency, picked up a couple of key components to that offense. Josiah St. John, former Rider, will start a tackle. We'll watch a matchup with him and Pete Robertson in this one. But here's a couple of those targets. Eugene Lewis. Dylan Mitchell joined the team last year, but Eugene Lewis, everyone knows him. You can make an argument for the top receiver in the league, and about 4 or 5 guys, he's one of them.
Right near the top of that list, no doubt. Brown with just 2 yards in that carry. He averaged almost 7 after joining the team last year. Cornelius goes up, and he got popped. There's a flag back by the quarterback as welcome to Edmonton, Geno Lewis. Riders defense comes to play early.
Well, Geno just jumps right back up, absorbed that big hit, and I think it was Jayden Dalkey, the safety, that came down.
Holding Edmonton number 68. Penalties declined. It's 3rd down.
Yes, it was. Mike Edom has retired, starting safety for Saskatchewan a year ago, and Jayden Dalkey won the job and his work on the teams last year, and he just tattoos Eugene Lewis over the middle. Wow.
Dalkey, 54th overall pick in 2022, so a pretty good find for the Riders. Played his university ball right here in Edmonton with the University of Alberta Golden Bears. Jake Julian set to kick this away. He was signed just last week after being cut by Ottawa, and he just gets it away. Mario Alford waiting for it back at the 25. Picks his way towards the near sideline, and a dangerous man indeed. But the Elks are able to wrap him up. There he is, 7 in white, Trevor Harris.
48, 46-2 in his career, and against the Edmonton Elks, 3-5. Last year, win-loss record with Montreal was 8-7, but I mentioned just 3 quarterbacks: Zach Collaros, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, and Trevor Harris, the only 3 over 4,000 yards passing a year ago.
Traded to Montreal by Edmonton back in 2021, now finds himself as a quarterback of the Riders. Wants to throw on 1st down, and he will down the sideline, broken up neatly by Gainey as they were trying to dump one into Mario Alford.
Well, Ed Gainey, there's two veterans in the secondary for Edmonton this year. Luchez Purefoy at safety and Ed Gainey playing out on the corner. Ed Gainey, also a former Rider, an interception last year. He's the veteran out there and is absolutely in the back pocket of Mario Alford. Trying to take a shot deep, though, just to loosen things up.
Hey, if anybody's going to do it, Alford's one of the most dynamic players in the CFL. Now Harris, some pressure, stays on his feet for now, looking for Winicky. There's a flag on the play, though. Did Winicky's arm get turned around as that ball came his way?
Yeah, I mentioned that Purefoy and Gainey are the veterans because they're starting 3 rookies in the back end here in Edmonton. Winicky, another free agent signing for Saskatchewan in the offseason. Coming over with Trevor Harris. He gets jammed there. I think that was fine, although you get...
Edmonton number 24, automatic first down.
I think you're right. He twisted him. He twisted him right when the ball arrived. Yep.
That's Darius Bratton, the first year DB out of Virginia, where he played 52 games. 25 years old. Takes the penalty there, and the Riders offense gets to stay on the field here. Trevor Harris, 1st and 10 from his own 53. Fakes the handoff, looks to his left. Now dumps it off over the head of Darrell Walker, who's a new piece in this Riders starting offense.
Yeah, Trevor Harris arguing that Darrell Walker, the former Elk, was held on that. Peter Godber, a big offseason signing at center. He'll be the leader of that group. They're unsure at the tackle position right now. We'll see how the matchups go here in this one tonight. There's Walker. Played in Edmonton last year. And, you know, we talked about Darrell Walker's having an off season last year. He was close to 1,000 yards and didn't play all 18 games.
874 yards, but just 1 touchdown last season for Edmonton. Here's Harris. Has some time this time, near side. And Sean Bain, signed out of Calgary, wrapped up immediately by Ed Gainey again. So Gainey with an impact defensively here early in the first quarter.
Well, challenged right out of the gate with that deep ball to Alford, and Gainey right in his hip pocket. So Saskatchewan will punt.
That's former Rider Tyron Moore waiting for it back at the 10. Another free agent signing here in Edmonton. His kick is drilled along the sideline, bounces down.
Did he catch the corner?
And it looks like he did. Just an excellent kick by Adam Korsak, 51 yards. Tough field position for that man. Taylor Cornelius, starting quarterback of the Edmonton Elks. Back to Commonwealth Stadium, everyone. Taylor Cornelius last season, 12 games, won 3 of them. One of those wins was against the Riders. Can certainly move for a big man in that pocket, though.
Yeah, in September, led the Elks to that win. He sure has the confidence of his head coach, right? Signed a contract extension mid-season last year, and Chris Jones believes in Taylor Cornelius.
This drive starts on his own 1. There's a flag as Cornelius sends it down the field. Lewis working against Nick Marshall, and that one does fall incomplete. But like I said, a penalty as that play started.
Good coverage there by Nick Marshall, and I mentioned the confidence of Chris Jones. Offside for Cornelius.
Edmonton number 7, penalties declined, 2nd down.
He's 2nd and 10, declined penalty, but he went mid-season last year saying with a whole bunch of statistics and data, and not making the comparison that he's the next Ricky Ray, but Chris Jones saying that Taylor Cornelius in the 3rd year is when you'll see the growth. You'll see the results of the hard work for the first 2 when they're trying to find their way, like Ray did.
2nd and 10, gets this one away, and that one is hauled in up near the 10 by the veteran Manny Arsenault. He's going to be shy of what they needed, but a little bit of breathing room as 3rd down.
We'll see what the mark of the ball here is. Yeah, Dustin, we'll see where they mark this, because if he's about a yard, I mean, it's the gamble becomes a little more intense when you're that deep in your own end if you're going to go on 3rd down and a yard, but I think it's more than that.
5 minutes into the season. Okay?
He's aggressive at times. You know Chris Jones aggressive. But no, not down there.
Julian stands in his own end zone here on a 3rd and 3. Ball will be snapped from his own 8, and they will indeed kick it away. End over end. It'll be taken right at midfield. 47-yarder. Mario Alford looking for the near side of the field. Tripped up momentarily. Takes it back to the 45. And a late flag.
Yep.
Did he get hit after he was out of bounds? He moves so quickly, it's hard to see.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I mean, he shows those little bursts of speed around the edge to get outside of containment. The great aspects of Canadian
Major foul,
football.
necessary roughness. Edmonton number 33.
Let's see how far out of bounds it was, or if he was out of bounds. Yeah, it looked like he was well beyond that stripe when he gets the shot there.
So just a 22-yard swing after the penalty. Apple on the guilty party. And Trevor Harris has excellent field position as the Riders will start here on the 30 of Edmonton. 3 receivers out to that wide side right. Jamal Morrow steps up immediately next to his quarterback. Harris wants the end zone, doesn't he? Looks to the far side, and that one will fall incomplete, but another flag on the play on the far side of the field, as Edmonton can't seem to get out of their own way here.
Well, Kai Gray is in coverage.
Pass interference, Edmonton number 29. Automatic first down.
He's one of the rookies. It's going to be a deep out from the outside here for Saskatchewan. That's Samuel Emelis. He runs that post cut and then back to the sideline, and there's the grab there. 3 rookies in the secondary. They're going to back off. They're going to give receivers room. That's what happens when you're in your first game in pro football. You're going to back up. You're going to grab a little bit and hope you get away with it.
52 penalty yards in the first 5.5 minutes of this game for Edmonton. And just like that, the Riders, without doing that much, are knocking on the door. Harris dumps it off. Walker, end zone. Touchdown. A return to Edmonton that he could only dream of. Jarrell Walker with his first touchdown as a Rider.
Well, penalty aided for sure, but this is a fake to Jamal Morrow, the starting tailback, and then just a little almost pitch out underneath on the crossing route to Darrell Walker, and finds the end zone against his old team.
Riders, great start here. They take a 6-0 lead while they're out for the convert here. Corsack to hold. And that one is good. 7-0. The Riders on top. Fan base here on the road, very strong. And they were cheering here. 1 touchdown with Edmonton last season. And he's got 1 in his first quarter with the Riders, does Darrell Walker. You got to feel good if you're Darrell Walker finding the end zone here in his first touch.
Darrell Walker's going to come across the formation here, and it looks like Purefoy's come to the line of scrimmage, and I'm not sure if it's his man or if he was coming on a blitz and just trying to alert his teammates, but he gets outflanked really quickly, and Walker walks in.
What's that feeling like for him? You're back, not only are you first game with your new team, but back against a team that didn't want you anymore. Like, that's got to feel so good.
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time, and you know they circle him.
Worked out well in the early going, that's for sure. This will be taken by Moore just inside the 15, trying to find some space. And he will not. Works it up just shy of the 30. Taylor Cornelius will get another crack at it when we return. His team trailing the Roughriders.
Keep playing those special teams in Canadian football. That's Jaden Dalke. He's earned the starting job. Remember this hit over the middle? Well, he got that starting job because of work last year on the teams, and this is the opening kickoff of this game. Dalke throwing his guy aside and getting in there. Back home in Alberta.
Look at all the Dalke jerseys, yeah. Went to school here, and obviously a ton of Dalke fans in the stands here today. Solid pickup on first down as they go to Kevin Brown, trying to find some space against this Riders D.
Take a look at that starting D for Saskatchewan. Anthony Lanier moves from inside defensive tackle to defensive end. You know, watch him in these one-on-one matchups outside. He's big. He's at 285. Larry Dean was second in the CFL in tackles, over 100 on the season. And the best DB for this team last year was Roland Milligan, and he starts at halfback. There's Dalke right in the middle at free safety, making an impact early here.
Lanier, 8 sacks last year. Robertson on the other side there. He had 9. Cornelius hands it off. Brown, he's going to be wrapped up trying to push ahead. And he's going to be at least a yard shy of that first down marker. And Kai Loxley quickly trots out here. And it looks like they'll be going for it. It's about a yard. Ball sits on the 38. They'll need the 39.
Timing just a little bit off on that play. Dylan Mitchell was a little early, which means that the defense isn't influenced by that motion.
Loxley needing a yard, diving ahead, and has just enough to keep the offense on the field. And that's the first down of the ball game for Edmonton.
What a unique athlete Kai Loxley is out of Texas El Paso, and a guy who can run the offense. I mean, this is Taylor Cornelius' team, but he is a dynamic athlete, can play receiver. He's carried the ball out of the backfield. He and Trey Ford are interesting guys to watch. I really think that this staff offensively can think outside the box, and as the season evolves, get those guys involved.
1st and 10 for Cornelius. 4 options to his right. That's where he's going to go. As Mitchell gets hammered down by Jeremy Clark, and Mitchell is slow to get up. A loss of 5 yards on the play, and training staff out here to tend to Dylan Mitchell. That just sounds like it hurts.
Well, I'm just taking a look at that first block that needs to be made. Is Forbes Momblo, the rookie at wide receiver, actually in his 2nd year, but he's got to make that first block. He doesn't on Clark, and Jeremy Clark just drops his shoulder pad level, and wow, what a hit. Hopefully Dylan Mitchell is okay. It looked like he was winded, like you know, when you get hit in that midsection and it knocks the air out of you.
Yeah, heavy hit.
Yeah, it really does, and it feels like you can't get your breath back. So looks like he's going to be okay walking back to the sideline.
Well, Jeremy Clark came to play. 5 games played back in 2021, 17 games last year, and starts at corner this year for the Riders. 2nd and 15 after the 5-yard loss. A passing scenario here for Cornelius. Flushed out of the pocket, taken down. Micah Johnson tripped him up. Got some help to finish him off.
Oh yeah, Micah Johnson's in the starting defensive lineup for this team as well for the Riders. They're pretty happy to get him back. He had his time in Saskatchewan, but went to Hamilton, playing that inside defensive tackle spot, and it's a bull rush to start with.
Julian waiting for the snap, takes it cleanly, lets it fly. Alford trots over to his left. Waiting, patiently trying to find some space. It does not open up. And he's tracked down just shy of his own 40. The three-time CFL All-Star, 34-year-old Micah Johnson getting on the board early in the season.
When they realized there was that much damage to the spleen, he was bleeding internally, and Taylor, listen, he didn't want to be overly dramatic about it, but he did say, "She saved my life." Doctors told him, had he gone to bed that night with that internal bleeding, it could have been a lot worse. And Taylor Cornelius, great to see him back on the field. And by the way, guys, the two of them got married in March.
Yeah, well, you got to keep her.
Well, hey, if she saves your life, you tie the knot.
No, but you know, that's great to see him back. Well, here we go.
No whistle here. It's going to be picked up by Purifoy, taking it down, reaching towards the end zone. No call just yet. And he'll be stopped, pushed out of bounds around the 2. But I think this is coming back pretty clearly.
I was going to say, it looked when it left Trevor Harris's hands like it was a forward pass, but they got to take a look at it. He is standing.
Yeah,
that's a forward pass. By the looks of it, that's right to the 35-yard line when it hits Morrow's hands, and you can see that Harris is a yard and a half behind that.
Rolling on the field, it's an incomplete pass. It's second down.
But yeah, Taylor Cornelius, just to finish Ryan's thought, is, you know, he put on some more weight. He trained a little differently. I mean, he's got that huge arm and can run. We haven't seen a lot of that just yet, but he put on some more weight to take some of those hits. And when we talked to him about that in his injury last year, and he said, "Yeah, are you going to do anything differently?" And you asked him that. He said, "Yeah, I'm not going to run into Mwamba."
Yeah, that's what he said. I said, "You learn anything? Like, we see different Cornelius." Yeah, I'm not going to try to cut back on Mwamba. Here's Harris, dumps it off to Bain. He can move, but the Elks are able to wrap him up for just a short gain, and that will bring up third down. Second catch of the game for Sean Bain Jr. I think Cornelius said it took him 6 weeks before he could do anything after the spleen injury last year.
Well, and he doesn't want to be reluctant to run, though, because it was a big part of his game and how, you know, his game was evolving last year. Just hook slide early.
Just a little bit, once in a while.
Which is the advice for all quarterbacks.
Forsak's kick bounces. And no flags there as Moore grabs it and steps out of bounds. And Taylor Cornelius.
22 Saskatchewan, no yard.
Quiet days so far for Cornelius. This is 21st career start, just 4-16, but obviously something that Chris Jones likes here, and we talked about it a little bit.
No yards. Saskatchewan number 22. 15-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
Well, Oklahoma State. Let's start there. That's top college program, and you know he's got all the, yes, we talked about it many times. He's got all the talent in the world. Now he's got to turn that talent into wins, and the experience that he's gained over those 20 games.
Went and worked with Nathan Rourke's quarterback coach a bit in the offseason, and that is scooped up nicely by Lewis on the low throw, and he's got a first down on the far side of the field, and his first catch as a member of the Edmonton Elks. 12 yards for Gino.
Well, that's Eugene Lewis going way down to his shoe tops to pick that up. I know it was just a short pass, but there's Lewis 87 crossing the formation, goes way down again. That's a really tough catch to make, and he made it look easy.
Multiple flags with some early movement here. That ball up at midfield. And that will be against the Riders, who are trying to dial in some penalties issues of their own this year.
Saskatchewan number 91. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Back-to-back CFL All-Star seasons for Eugene Lewis.
East MOP last year.
2,000-yard years. Look at that. Go down and get it as you're trying to run laterally. Again, he made it look easy. It's not.
Cornelius fakes the handoff, far side, and that's Lewis again. And speaking of Lewis, here's what he had to say about the high ceiling of his quarterback.
I think he has a really, really high ceiling. I think he can make any throw on the field, down the field, intermediate, the short passes and things like that. He doesn't have to be perfect on all his passes. You put it in the vicinity, put it in the area for the receivers that we have on this team, and we're going to make the play and we're going to make it happen. So I think once we do that, his confidence is going to keep going up from there. The sky's the limit for him.
Cornelius here on 1st and 10. Pressure coming. Rolling out to his right. Has a little bit of room, and now he's going to take off. And that is a first down as the big man rumbles down inside the 30. 14 yards for Cornelius.
Another round, first down.
There's an example of Cornelius and that athleticism. He gets outside of contained here. It looks like it was Brian Cox Jr. who was on the outside on the edge. A real good story and a great training camp for number 50 for Saskatchewan, but Cornelius with that big stride can get outside in a hurry. He's faster than he looks and picks up the first down.
First signs of life for this Elks offense so far today. Now he'll get it out to his running back, Brown. Brown, a nice burst, takes it down inside the 15 and pushed out of bounds at the 10, and that is a weapon that emerged late in the season last year for Edmonton. Brown picks up 17.
Yeah, swing passes, screen passes to the backs. I think it's an underused, undervalued play just to get your back out in space. Now you got one-on-ones with linebackers, and there's so much room on a Canadian Football League field.
Into the red zone for Cornelius in the home side. Out to his left, including the veteran, Manny Arsenault, and the newcomer, Stephen Dunbar Jr.
Dylan Mitchell back in the lineup.
Mitchell lined up down at the bottom of your screen. Cornelius looks towards Lewis, went down for it. But Roland Milliken, who had a phenomenal season last year, is right on top of him.
Yeah, I think this is just play by Roland Milligan, who is going to run this route with Eugene Lewis. To the right of your screen, he's getting inside that zone, cuts inside. Well, he did have a crack at it, didn't he? Here's your ISO to see Lewis. Nice move to get outside of Micah Tights. Milligan actually slipped. Gave him a second chance to knock it out of there.
71 tackles last season for Milligan. Cornelius throwing again to Dunbar, is behind him, and Henderson is there to break that up, and that will bring up third down and a field goal attempt from Dean Faithful.
Yeah, this is going to be one that Cornelius goes to his receiver Dunbar here and says, my bad, because he throws that out in front, and he's got outside leverage on Henderson, but the ball way in behind him allows 16 to close quickly and get there. That's why you never give up as a DB on the play. Even though you've played inside technique and the outside is basically given up, keep hustling.
Faithful, the second overall pick in the global draft, comes out and knocks one through. So the Elks drive stalls once again inside the red zone, but they do come away with 3 points and trail 7-3. Formula One comes to Canada next Sunday as racers take to the streets of Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. Catch the action at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific on TSN, and watch Max Verstappen lap the field. The guy's having an absolutely phenomenal season, and the rest of the teams will try to change that in Montreal.
Craig Dickinson had a little bit of concern for his offensive line coming in. Lost Phillip Blake in the preseason. Off-season acquisition. Should be pretty solid inside with Peter Godber, Evan Johnson, and Logan Furlan in there, but take a look at the matchups on the edges.
They'll hand this one off. Hickson trying to find a little bit of space. A yard, probably not much more. Trevor Harris, 3 of 6 today for 10 yards. Here's what he's done the other 4 teams he's been with.
Yeah, when you take a look at his career numbers, 28,610 yards. You can pass a couple of former Saskatchewan Roughriders with a good season this year. He's gone over 4,000 yards 5 times. If he does that, he passes Tom Burgess, Darian Durant, and a former Alouette, Sam Etcheverry.
Not a bad list. 2nd and 8 for Harris. Some pressure, and he will go down just inside the 35. And then Serezna with the somersault into the official. Croker, Tim Croker, our referee, appears to be okay.
Well, they're really strict with contact on official, but I think Croker is saying, you know, they are very, very strict, so we'll see.
Oh, and they are going to throw a flag on Serezna.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how the contact happens, I guess?
Well, yeah, I think even Coker was saying, the head official there who gets rolled on.
Misconduct foul, Edmonton number 94. It's a 10-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
And that, you know, complete mistake by Serezna. Didn't see him there, was celebrating the sack. But the rule is pretty clear, and they want to be... They want to make sure that the teams know, do not touch the official in any way, shape, or form, whether you're celebrating or mad at them or anything.
Any form of incidental contact of an official will be a penalty the rest of the season. It has to be, right? So,
and both will talk after the game. I'm sure Croker will go to Serezna and say, hey, look, I know it was a complete mistake, but the rule is the rule. Edmonton gets the ball back anyway.
3rd and 6. Korsak stands on his 30. A nice find for the Riders as Korsak lets this one fly. Moore trotting over there. It's going to bounce past him. And another excellent punt from Korsak. He had a great one earlier. This one was just as good as he pins the Elks deep on a 65-yarder from Adam Korsak. The Riders rookie punter gets the job done there. Great tailgate out front of Commonwealth. And the heavy hits inside Commonwealth. Darrell Walker, the only touchdown in the game so far. The Riders lead the Elks 7-3 after 1. And from a stats perspective, the story's kind of what's not there, really, Glenn.
Yeah, both offenses, you know, trying to throw the ball down the field, and that's okay. It tries to loosen up the secondary a little bit, but I would love to see the running backs get more involved here in this 2nd quarter. And Jamal Morrow, 0 touches in the 1st quarter. Kevin Brown for the Elks, he just has a few touches for about 28 net yards. I think they can get both those backs involved. Get a 1st down success can help you get some momentum with your offense.
Jamal Morrow last year, 666 yards. Frankie Hickson, excellent when he touched it, 6.3 yards per carry. They will watch from the sidelines here as Cornelius gets his ball once again on the Edmonton 8 to start a drive. And he's going to look down the near sideline for Lewis, goes up and holds it in. Gino Lewis to the 40, all the way down to the 20, and he's going to go untouched to the house. 92-yard touchdown for Gino Lewis as Cornelius strikes.
Example of the big arm from Taylor Cornelius. He stole that. Ripped the ball out. And Eugene Lewis walks in.
I think they say that's why he gets the big bucks. Extra point hammered home, and the Elks have their first lead of this football game.
You know, he arrived in Edmonton and walked into that receiver room showing great leadership first by example, and then just communicating with the group that they've got the talent in the room. Now they've got to give their quarterback a chance. So if he throws it up, make sure you do everything in your power to go get it. And that's exactly what Eugene Lewis does. He goes up and rips it away.
What do you think of Jeremy Clark? What's he supposed to do there, really? I mean, he's stride for stride with Gino.
You can't cover
pretty well, didn't he?
Like you're in great position, inside position. You have to throw it over him to get there. But Lewis goes up, high points it, and then rips it away. 102 yards. First major as an Elk for Eugene Lewis.
So we got Darrell Walker on one side, touchdown in his debut with the Riders, and Eugene Lewis with a fired up Taylor Cornelius on the sidelines, a touchdown in his debut.
Well, and the key to the throw, and this is going to happen, we're going to see this chemistry grow as the season goes on.
Y'all know what's going on, man. They thought it was a fluke, but they're going to see what's going on, man. Don't even worry about it. Go raise the roof on them.
I never thought it was a fluke.
I don't know anybody who thinks anything he does is a fluke, because he's phenomenal. MOP out of the East last year, eventually lost it. Now this is Hickson on the return, and he'll take it back outside the 30.
But the key on the throw, Dustin, is the air that Taylor Cornelius put underneath that ball. He put it up there like just nice and trying to drop it in a bucket. That gives Lewis a chance to go up and win the jump ball. And he's seen it so many times. He knows that in practice he's got the confidence, and he's seen it from afar as well, watching it when he was playing on Montreal. So
gives him the time to adjust and
exactly. He could gather himself and win the jump ball, and then with those strong hands, rip it away.
And now a chance for the Riders to answer back. There's the handoff that you were talking about, Glenn, and that is up for a short pickup on first down as they do get Jamal Morrow involved in the offense.
Yeah, important, right? Especially for the offensive line as they're trying to get some chemistry up front to be able to run block, drive off the ball, and go hit somebody and try to open a hole for 25. And Craig Dickinson, well, every coach really wants to be physical at the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 7 for Harris on his own 37. Got hit as he throws down the far sideline, and is that caught by Bain? What an effort by Sean Bain along the sidelines in double coverage, and a long discussion from the officials. If it stands, it'll be 30, but his feet are out, and it will be brought back. Sensational effort to haul this in.
Well, he makes the catch. We know that. What a catch it was. Left hand.
On the field is an incomplete pass.
And is that
down.
first foot? First foot's on the line. Is that a bounce?
Correct ruling, but still a ridiculous athletic play.
In double coverage.
Bain's kind of the under the radar pickup, right? Winicky and Walker were the big ones.
Well, still a little bit unknown, right?
Yeah.
But that's a good sign for Saskatchewan Roughrider fans.
Shows some
make
flashes in his time in Calgary, kind of playing behind Malik Henry. Borsak to kick it away. Taken after a 46-yard kick by Moore. The Elks will get this ball back with just over 12 and a half to go in the second quarter. Big offseason acquisition makes a big-time play right there. Geno Lewis goes up and hauls it in, walks to the end zone. Down to Ryan Rashad.
So, Dusty, chatting with Lewis yesterday, I asked him, how can you help Taylor Cornelius take the step that he seems poised to take? And he said, I want him to know he doesn't have to be perfect. I call myself the eraser. Now, the reason he calls himself the eraser, because if Cornelius throws it a little short, he can erase that mistake with a great catch. We saw that tonight with the great catch. Maybe a little bit of a shy throw, he can erase that mistake too with a fantastic catch. He says if he can let the quarterback know you don't have to be perfect with every throw, he'll relax. So far, he's erased a couple.
A little bit of a human highlight reel.
The eraser.
Geno Lewis.
I love it. The eraser. Any little error, any little balls off a little bit one side or the other, you just erase the mistake with the great hands. And since 2019, top receiver in the Canadian Football League, and a couple still playing. Dominic Rhymes off to a good start in BC. Dylan Ackland, a couple catches for him in that win for Montreal.
I believe I heard Geno earlier in the game say, get your popcorn ready. So
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready. It's delicious. Here's Cornelius out to his right, and that's below the feet of Kevin Brown. Cornelius on the run. Couldn't complete it. That brings up third down, and the Riders defense does the job and gets off the field here. Cornelius is 6 of 11 for 145 yards and a big touchdown to Lewis, went for 102. Kick. Alford takes it back, pedaling inside his own 5. Alford far side. There's a flag at the 30 and an injured rider on the 34 on the far side of the field. Winicky, another big addition. Both of these teams so active in the offseason.
Well, yeah, and you think back a couple of years back where Jake Winicky was almost at 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns, CFL All-Star, and TD Winicky, we started calling him, and then, had a bit of a drop-off statistically last year. But that chemistry is still there between he and Trevor Harris, of course, teammates in Montreal. Hasn't seen one yet. Hasn't been targeted yet.
It's first down.
Has to help as we get a holding call against Nick Marshall on that return. Has to help Trevor Harris bring somebody familiar with him, right?
Absolutely. And Darrell Walker. They were teammates as well.
Two guys that certainly should help him this season. 1st and 10 for the Riders from their own 2. They'll hand it off back to the line of scrimmage and not much further. Jamal Morrow could not find anywhere to go. Maconzo involved in stopping him.
Yeah, he plays this really nicely. Enoch Maconzo steps up. In 10 games had almost 60 tackles, 57 tackles in total. And he just scrapes to the outside shoulder here, and he eliminates this play. He just beats the block there, steps upfield, and turns it inside to his teammates.
Ceresma came over to help finish the job there. So they get a yard, 2nd and 9 on the 3 for Trevor Harris. Harris takes off right up the middle. Harris has a first down. Look at him go. He'll eventually slide just shy of the 25. You don't see that very often from Trevor Harris, but when called upon, he gets the job done.
Yeah, you don't, but it's a big play. I mean, think about the decision Craig Dickinson would have to make if they get stuck back here inside their own 5-yard line. Do they give up a safety? Do they get the ball back in 2 points, or are they going to try and kick it, which would give Edmonton excellent field position after the big throw to Geno Lewis? So that is a huge play for Saskatchewan for number 7 to pick it up and get some breathing room.
Now hands it back off to Jamal Morrow. He'll take it for 4 yards outside the Rider 30. Jamal Morrow, 28 years old, had a couple of 100-yard games last season. Ended up playing in 12 games, which provided some room for Frankie Hickson to get involved as well. Riders 3rd in the league in yards per carry last year, but ran it less times than everybody else. Darrell Walker with a catch for a first down, takes it outside the 35 as the Riders offense moves the ball in a drive that started on their own 2-yard line.
Again, against the rookie, and this one here, I'm a little surprised that Saskatchewan doesn't just keep trying to work this matchup. They've got Kai Gray out there. And again, all these rookies are great players. That's why they're here. They made the team. They beat out guys to make the football team. They've earned the right to start in this first game for Edmonton, but work that matchup.
Harris fakes the handoff. Low throw, and the receiver, Bain, goes down to get it, but it looks like it hit the ground. Pass incomplete.
He tried to sell it, didn't he?
How close was it?
No, he used the turf to help him catch it, which he can't do. 2nd and 10.
Team high 4th target of the game for Sean Bain Jr. Second and 10 for the Riders on their own 38, 8.5 to play in the first half. They'll get it back to Bain again with some speed, finding some room, and he's got it. First down as he takes it outside the 50. And that's another one of the reasons they brought him into this offense. 15 yards for Bain.
Yeah, I'd like the call from Kelly Jeffrey here just to get this fly sweep to Bain. Try and get him outside, and linebackers are always sort of tuned in first to the tailback and Jamal Morrow, so they're a little bit late to react outside to get the corner there, and Bain picks up the first down.
Good job to hang on to that ball at the end of the play. Riders marching up to their own 53. Harris again takes the short play, and that amounts to not much.
Another big second, sorry, Judson, but another big second along here, and I just think back to the play where Trevor Harris, inside their own 5, runs up the middle on that scramble for the first down. Now, even if they don't convert here, Saskatchewan can punt the ball and have flopped the field based on that one play alone.
It's not exactly what you wanted, but mission accomplished, right?
You get out of your own end, yeah. That's the first step.
8th play of this drive to get them up to midfield. Dickinson watching on. They're 6-1 versus Edmonton in his career as the head coach of the Riders. They need 9 here at midfield. Harris, far side, and that's hauled in neatly by Walker, working against the veteran that time. Ed Gainey, and Glennie found himself some space.
Well, this is Chris Jones making an adjustment now, putting Ed Gainey now. It might have just been the side and formation, but they may be wanting to switch the matchup and get Kai Gray to the other side. There's the matchup right there. You can see that the Riders have got 4 receivers on the wide side of the field just to clear out to get the one-on-one to Darrell Walker. Right out there, throw behind to the back shoulder, 12-yard gain.
All the way up to the Edmonton 44. Harris with time, looking for Winicky, and he overshoots him down at the 15.
Yeah, the Riders offensively are going to look at the video of this one, and they're going to go, we had options. I mean, Winicky was open behind the linebackers. He's open right here, and watch the swing here too by the back. I believe it was Jamal Morrow who's going to be wide open as well.
Bain.
Actually, it was Bain, yeah. Bain's wide open on the outside, or at least a one-on-one, and just misses down the field.
So another 2nd and long. They've been able to make a few of these on this drive. Is that another one? Yes. Dropped into the arms of Emelis, and he takes it all the way down inside the 10 and eventually hammered down to the turf. First catch of the day for the Canadian kid.
Yeah, and maybe the best throw as a Rider for Trevor Harris early in this football season, the first half of game 1, and he just drills this in there. I mean, he has a small window to get it to Emelis. He runs that sort of curl to a dig route into the middle, and he just threads it into that hole. 38-yard gain, a little work after the fact for Emelis, who's poised to have a big season. He can run. He's a smooth route runner. Some injuries last year in his rookie season, but I'm real excited about Emelis.
First-round pick in 2022, 10 catches last year. A couple of Canadian receivers banged up for the Riders, so more opportunity here for Emelis. What a drive for Saskatchewan. This thing started back on their own 2. First and goal now from the Edmonton 6. Handoff taken down inside the 5 by Frankie Hickson. And they'll need a couple more.
What a drive this has been for Saskatchewan. I mean, this drive started inside their own 5-yard line on the 2. How many second and longs have we seen converted?
3 or 4, I would think, on this drive. So some clutch moments. Hickson remains in at running back.
You throwing it here, Coach Dustin?
I don't think so. They brought in Miles Brown, a defensive lineman, who's going to line up just in front of Hickson, and they'll try to follow him towards the end zone. Hickson driven back, but he stays on his feet. Chopped down at the 5. What an effort from Hickson, but A.C. Leonard, his former teammate, is there for the denial.
I think Lucas Purifoy from the safety spot steps up. I'm pretty sure it was Purifoy got that number wrong. We'll take a look. It's right in the middle. And he is going, Purefoy's back here, and I think it's him that steps up into the hole and denies Hickson at the point of attack right there. I mean, what a play from the safety spot to get that play bounced to the outside. Leonard gets him, but the play's made by Purefoy.
What a phenomenal drive from the Riders. Lawther puts home 3 more to tie this game at 10. A drive that started on the Saskatchewan 2 gets denied at the Edmonton 2 that ends up with a field goal. It feels almost like a win for both teams in that situation.
Well, it gives Edmonton sort of the edge there. It gives them the momentum. Go all that way, and they get the stop at the goal line.
And for the Riders, we were talking to midfield. Hey, you know, they move the ball, flip the field, and then they get so close to finishing it off and come up just shy. Good news for our viewers is that this game is tied at 10 and has been pretty darn good so far as we hit the 3-minute warning. Cornelius and the Elks with the ball late in the half.
Coming your way at halftime. Plus, Matthew Shinetti is standing by. He's going to break down what the Argos are doing ahead of their first game.
Let's be honest, must-watch television coming up. Just under 3 minutes. 2nd and 2 on the 48 here. They'll get it to Dunbar. Dunbar's got a first down. And that is his first catch as a member of the Edmonton Elks after going for 1,000 yards with the Ticats last season.
Yeah, testing the edges a little bit, trying to get the ball outside. And, you know, when you have 2 defensive ends, Anthony Lanier and Brian Cox was playing the opposite end. That's 270 and 285 off the edge. Testing their ability to redirect. I'm not saying the move is a bad one. Pete Robertson will rotate in on this play.
Elks at midfield. Cornelius thought about going down the field to Dylan Mitchell and then eventually just throws it out of bounds.
Yeah, live to play another down, live to play another day. Sometimes it doesn't look right. No need to force it. The rotation for the Riders up front should be pretty good this year. I mean, Micah Johnson in the middle, DeMarcus Christmas. You got Brian Cox and Pete Robertson, Anthony Lanier on the outside. I'm really interested to see Lanier, who was dominant inside, but it's harder to double team Lanier on the outside this year.
2nd and 10. Cornelius with time. Now he's going to get himself in a little bit of trouble. They'll hang on to him and take him down. Lanier came in to help DeMarcus Christmas, who first got his claws on him.
Lanier is playing beside him. Christmas on the inside is going to rotate all the way around. Lanier takes and crashes down inside, takes 3 with him, leaving Christmas to get there early. Sorry. I had to before you did. I knew you were going to sometime.
Julian standing on his own 35. High kick directly into the hands. 55 yards down the field. Mario Alford trying to find some room on the far side, and they will eventually track him down and push him out of bounds. Marcus Christmas with 1 sack last season. Chris Jones and G-Roy Simon. That was one of the guys they brought in.
Yeah, already contributing. Luchez Purefoy, we saw the play down on the goal line. AC Leonard's made some plays. Stephen Dunbar, Eugene Lewis with 102-yarders. So aggressive free agency, and Josiah St. John is starting at tackle in this one tonight. Chris Jones, he's been called the mad scientist because he likes to experiment. In fact, he'll take a defender and move him to offense and vice versa. But You know, he's got to settle in and win some games now, and he knows it.
There was a lot of that last year. This year looks more of a...
More stable.
Yeah. Typical CFL roster. Harris tries to find Bain, who is looking to find some space there from Dwayne Thompson, but it does fall incomplete.
Purefoy played for BC last year, but he played the previous 3 with Saskatchewan. And, you know, when you pick up a guy like that, and you can talk about his age, you can talk about all the experience. He just makes your team better. He knows where to be and when to be there. Just makes plays on the field, like down on the goal line.
Over 100 CFL starts for Purefoy. Harris takes what he could get underneath Breskison, and that should be enough for a Rider first down. Second catch of the game for Breskison.
Breskison gets to the marker, and Purefoy gets there and meets him right at that marker, right at the 10-yard mark, right there. Great tackle in the open field, and Breskison does his job and gets a new set. 11-yard gain. He needed 10.
Lots of time to work here for Trevor Harris. 4 options out to his right. That's where he first looks. That's where he's going to go. And Winneke hauls it in. Good coverage from McConzo, but Jake goes up and gets it. 14 yards for Winneke.
Yeah, now McConzo's a great player, and he showed us that last year. But this is a good matchup for Saskatchewan because of the height alone. I mean, Winneke is 6'4", McConzo 5'11", so anything up there in the shoulder pad area or above plays into the hands of the offensive player here in Winneke, getting outside and going up to get it with McConzo reaching for it.
And now the Riders certainly in business here with 98 seconds to work. Ball on their own 50 in a 10-10 game. Game very important for both of these teams after missing the playoffs last season. First time ever that both of these teams missed the playoffs in the
over
same
100
year.
years of CFL football, and never have both teams in the same year not made it.
Until 2022.
Wow.
And they both want to change that, obviously, this year. Elks going to bring some heat. Harris gets it away. Wait. No. And it'll be intercepted and brought back down the field by Edmonton. Kai Gray, who's been beaten a couple times in this game, steps up and has an interception in his first CFL start.
Ed Gainey's the guy providing the pressure. You saw it come off the edge. It's some secondary blitz right here. Now he gets pushed wide, so he and Thompson are both inside. Trevor Harris has a little bit of time, maybe more than he thought, because Morrow takes the inside man, forcing Gainey out and around the edge. And let's see what happens out here. Just the accuracy wasn't there on the throw, and you're right, Gray needed this first game in Edmonton. Gave up a couple. I believe he has a penalty for pass interference, and that'll make all that go away.
All of a sudden, he feels pretty good heading into the room.
Good first half.
At halftime. Now the ball, midfield, going the other way for Edmonton. Cornelius looks over. Dunbar went to get it, but he's absolutely popped. Dalkey again.
Dalkey's making us.
Blows him up.
He is making his presence felt, I'll tell you that.
Serving notice to the rest of the CFL. Careful if you're coming over the middle in Riderville.
Yeah, just playing that middle. He's got Arsenault on a corner, and he's got Dunbar on the post from the backside. He plays the throwing motion of Taylor Cornelius, and not leading with his helmet either. He's clean hits, but tough, hard ones.
2nd and 10 for Cornelius. And that one almost intercepted. They were that close to giving it back. But Amari Henderson couldn't hang on.
Mario Alford has had his last couple of returns where he has tried to take them wide. And I'm wondering if on this kick he might just switch things up and fake like he's going wide and hit it right down Main Street.
Is there a challenge here? Late whistles. And yeah, challenge flag on the field. Chris Jones on that last replay, I wondered. It looked like there was some contact as they tried to come back to the ball, but
he pulled his way through on that play right there.
Pass interference?
On number 7.
On your number 7?
Our number 7.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Edmonton is challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
Yeah, and it wasn't Stephen Dunbar, number 7, who he's challenging, committed the foul. He's saying Amari Henderson did on his number 7. But you got a chance to hear sort of the execution of that. There's Dunbar right there. And let's see if there's any illegal contact. No. Oh, well, the push. That's what he saw. He saw the.
Was that a stumble or a pull?
Yeah,
through?
you almost have to see it from
different angle.
A different angle to see if he grabbed his jersey and pulled him forward. That's a tough one up to the right top of your screen. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to overturn because there was no flag on the play. So they have to find enough evidence, and if you can't see Amari Henderson's hand on the jersey anywhere, then you can't actually see it to overturn it. However, he did kind of fall forward, didn't he?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it's kind of like,
or did he
sort
just
of
stumble in the ground?
And then maybe Henderson helped him along, but we couldn't see anything from those angles. Is this a different one? It's going to be tough to tell.
Yeah, up at the top right here is about where it's going to happen. Right. Boy, it really looks like he gets, but you know, it doesn't matter what we think because you have to actually see it, and you can't say by his action. I'm not sure they'll have enough to overturn this.
It looked to me on that last one there that Henderson's left hand kind of was just hanging free the whole time.
Yeah,
you know.
But even with that, you're guessing a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You're
so
right.
and you can't guess
from that angle. There's no way you're going to guess. This would be a tough one to overturn. You have to think the play will likely stand.
And I like the challenge.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Edmonton, after losing a challenge, has lost a timeout. It's third down.
See, like Chris Jones challenging that, I like the challenge because of what happened to Dunbar. It looked like he got lunged forward, but unless he was hoping that there was a television replay that showed a grab, and we didn't have one, so that's it. Can't overturn it by guessing.
Julian looking to try to pin Mario Alford deep. That's easier said than done. Alford takes it at the 9, a 47-yard kick. Trying to find some room, a good down coverage field by the Elks cover team. Don't go anywhere. Lots to talk about. Lots of new faces here for our halftime panel to break down on both the Riders and the Elks.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Milt Stegall talks about Eugene Lewis winning a jump ball and going 102 yards.
There's a pretty good chance. And I think the coach there will talk about how important this game is for these two teams.
Well, yeah, huge. I mean,
and it is. I mean, the Riders had a great start last year.
I mean, huge, but it's week 1. So
yeah.
let's. I mean, yeah, we're hyping it, so you'll watch it.
Yeah.
But
it is week 1.
It is week 1.
Hand it off and a push up towards the 20.
Might be some penalties here.
Extra pushing and shoving. Morrow on the carry.
One area where Craig Dickinson certainly has worked on and wants to continue to work on is discipline. An issue for the Riders last year. They were the most penalized team in the league, almost 10 penalties per game. A lot of them after the whistle, which just cannot happen if you want to be a winning football team. So he's worked really hard at it, and they've been better in the preseason.
Second most penalties per game last year, Edmonton. So both of these teams trying to find some discipline. This carry will go nowhere. Miles Morgan, who Edmonton's defense very much missed last season, is there to make the tackle.
Well, I'm gonna go back to what we said at the break, that I'd love to see some more Jamal Morrow, and same with Edmonton. I'd love to see some more Kevin Brown. I mean, former defensive player, thinking when you're getting the running game going, it kind of shrinks the field and opens up for one-on-one battles on the outside.
The Elks sideline
timeout.
Erupted.
Saskatchewan.
And the Riders have called a timeout. Some confusion on the field here. As the Riders get set to kick it away one more time.
And that's the worst feeling in the world, when you have to jog out after a timeout is forced to be called by your coach because you didn't have enough guys in the field. And I think it was Hickson. I don't want, you know.
He was the one that ran out.
He was the guy that ran out.
He's out there now.
You don't want to get one blocked, and that's why you have to call the timeout there.
Forsack steadies himself again. Kyron Moore, the returner for Edmonton, stands at his own 43, awaiting the kick. Time ticking down in the opening half of the final game of week 1 in the CFL. Moore takes it cleanly, 50-yard kick. Makes one move, a couple more, stays on his feet, and eventually is taken down. Dalkey might have been involved in that one again.
Well, the punters have been crushing it in this first half. We saw that. Dalkey's been playing on the teams and some big hits over the middle. I like the play of our safeties in this game. Luchez Purifoy's made a couple. Jaden Dalkey. Don't worry, I won't.
This is like that Milt Gino Lewis thing we were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
The exact same thing.
Yeah. Milt's there going, oh, I knew Suter was going to talk about the safeties.
Cornelius here at the end of the half, and they'll send 4 guys deep. Cornelius stepping up. He's going to heave one towards the end zone. Intercepted. Gino Lewis tries to get in there, but it's Jaden Dalkey who goes over and hauls it in.
Now I got to talk about
Just
the safeties.
what we need. What a play. What a half from the former U of A Golden Bear, Jaden Dalkey, as he slides in there and stops the old Hail Mary from Cornelius.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well try this offensively. We've seen it before many, many times. Last play of the half, just chuck it up. Maybe you get a bounce or a PI call, puts it on the 1-yard line, but not in this case. A great half by number 38. Getting that starting job out of camp at free safety, and Jaden Dalkey's made a difference.
Threw it into the direction of Dylan Mitchell and Eugene Lewis. Probably not a bad idea from Cornelius, but a great play by Dalkey to break that up. Gino Lewis, 3 catches, 125 yards, highlighted by a 102-yard touchdown in his debut with the Edmonton Elks. They brought him in to be a difference maker for this team, and that's what he was able to do in the first half of this game. And he is now with our Ryan Rashad.
Well, Eugene, a bit of a tentative start for the football club. Lots of penalties in the early going there. What happened on the sidelines among the guys to settle that down?
Yeah, man, we gotta just settle in, man. It's the first game. There's gonna be some ups and downs, but we gotta get rid of the penalties and get rid of the turnovers. And you know, the sky's the limit for us.
We were chatting yesterday. You talked about the basketball player that you were in high school. I wonder, as you went up for that ball, how much the basketball skills came into play there?
It's a rebound, man. That's all it is. I wanted more than another person. I don't believe in 50-50 balls. It's 90-10, and that's just how I go about my business.
How many points that year you were telling me about?
I had 1,700 in my career.
Good stuff. Thanks.
Sir. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Kate, back to you in the studio.
Oh, Gino Lewis. Fitting in
Edmonton, and the start of the third quarter, Darrell Walker is with our Ryan Rashad.
Darrell, I know you're a Rider at heart now, but how nice did that feel to pull in a touchdown catch here at Commonwealth Stadium?
Oh, man, it was truly amazing, man. I expect to get at least a couple more today, hopefully, God willingly. But, man, it was great, man. It really hit home. It really hit home.
What would you say stands out to you about being a Rider?
The fans, man, the fans. You see the green jerseys in the stands right now, man. They're amazing.
You remember what it was like as a member of this team? Everywhere you went, now they're going to be there for you. What does that mean?
It means a lot, man. It means a lot, you know, having a a fan base like Saskatchewan, knowing always you're going to have some green jerseys in the stands to cheer you on, man, it always means so much to us. We're just thankful for all the people that put in all the hard work to make it to our games.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
A lot of green jerseys behind that Riders sideline on the far side of the field, and we'll be watching them and which way their celebrations will go tonight as the second half gets underway. Faithful down the field. Alford trying to find some room. He picks up some speed. Mario Alford looking for some room on the far side of the field, down to the 40. Stays on his feet and is finally tripped up. Almost had a house call here to start the third quarter.
You just cannot go to sleep no matter it's the beginning of the game, just out of halftime. You got to be on your toes when you got returners like we have in the CFL. Mario Alford's one of them. Great speed, and our Skycam right along with it.
I'm not even sure Faithful got much of him, but his presence there was enough to trip him up.
That spider cam just right along with it, all the way along.
Confirms how quickly that camera can move. Yeah. There's Trevor Harris, fakes that handoff near side. Winneke has it down to a knee to haul it in, and wrapped up by McConsell, just short of a first down. But what an energy Alford brings to the table.
Yeah, it does. A great field position in field goal range now. You know, Trevor Harris, both these offenses, I think, other than the big play, the 102-yarder that the panel talked about at halftime, I think both these offenses have made some plays, done some good things, but also trying to find their way a little bit. Winneke got involved late in the first half, gets involved early here. Trevor Harris trying to figure out and understand all the different nuances of his teammates.
2nd and 3 for Harris. Has a ton of time. Now looks towards the end zone, and it's incomplete. Looking for Emilus, and he just could not haul it in.
A couple plays by Emilus in the first half too. Can't get that one. Starts out on the outside, and lots of time for Trevor Harris here. There's Emilus. Put trips, 3 receivers to that side of the field. Harris gave him a chance.
And now a chance for a lead for the visitors. Crawford 1 of 1, the other one a chip shot from 13. This one from 33, just on the inside of that left hash, and he pushes it wide right. We saw some issues there in the preseason as well, and they will have to settle for 1, but it was that close for the Riders. Emilus almost hauled that one in, and the kick pushed wide right. Our first look at Taylor Cornelius here in the second half. Here's a look at what he did in the first half.
Yeah, again, same deal. I mean, a couple big plays, the big 102-yarder to Geno Lewis, but a couple of runs for first down. There's the finish, the capping off of that run into the end zone. Still, again, like to see some more Kevin Brown, and I think he's trying to find his way again. Week 1 here, but they did some good things.
Cornelius keeps this one and has a completion for about 8 yards to Arsenault, his second catch of the ball game.
I love the idea too of moving Taylor Cornelius around and moving the launch point. I mean, if you leave the quarterback, no matter how good he is, in the same spot all the time, the D-line can get a game plan. They start stunting up front and blitzing, and that's when you start racking up sacks. So
next one, running that option with Brown there too,
run the option, get him outside, freeze the defensive line for a split second.
2nd and 2. That is Brown standing in immediately to the right of his quarterback. They'll give it to him this time. Brown escapes. Stays on his feet down to the 50, now into the 40. Ball pops loose, and it's out of bounds. As the Riders track that down from behind, it will remain Edmonton ball. Finally some daylight there for Kevin Brown.
Yeah, you have to touch it again. So this play right here, first of all, he switches hands. I was about to say that's a smart play to make when you're getting to the outside. Switch it to your outside hand, but it's punched out. Now, for the record, if Rider fans are wondering, if this is punched out and not touched by anyone on the way out of bounds, which it is, there's the punch, that's still Edmonton ball. It has to be touched again before it goes out of bounds.
Nice play by C.J. Rivas, though. 24 yards for Brown. We'll go back to Brown again. And he gets about 2 or 3 yards on this one. Right up the middle.
You mentioned he only played 7 games last year, but if you take a look at Kevin Brown's projection, in other words, if he could have played 18 regular season games, he would have finished with 1,250 and 10 runs over 20 yards. So he's got that breakaway explosion. We've seen little glimpses of it here tonight, but it just kind of sets the tone, gets the guys up front excited too.
He finished 11th in the league in rushing despite only playing in those 7 games. Here's Cornelius now far side, and that one not enough on it. Looking for Dylan Mitchell, and that brings up 3rd and 8.
Yeah, he just, it almost like he just didn't step into that throw. I mean, either that or he lost the handle before it came out, because that one hopped well in front of. I mean, it didn't slip out of his hands. That was 4 or 5 yards in front of Dylan Mitchell.
"36-year-old rookie out here with a 43-yard attempt from the right hash. And he has more than enough leg on that one, right down the middle. And Edmonton goes back on top, 13-11. Time for an answer from Trevor Harris in his first game with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Take a look at the first half of the Rider career for Trevor Harris.
Well, that first touchdown throw to Darrell Walker was penalty aided, get him down in the goal line, but he looked, again, did some good things. That was a throw behind. He hit Emilus on this dig or shallow post, and he turned into a 38-yard gain, and this was a major play to get him out of their own end. There's a touchdown to Walker. So again, some good things, still trying to find his way. Both quarterbacks are.
Starting on his own 40 here, down by 2. Some flags, Harris. It's it to Bain, 3rd catch of the game for Sean Bain. Flags on both sides of the field.
Like there was early movement. I'm not sure which side of the line of scrimmage moved first, but it looked like early movement up front.
Offside, Edmonton. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So it'll be a 1st and 5 here, very manageable for the Riders. Jamal Morrow in the game at running back. Seen a little bit of Hickson mixed in as expected. And they'll give it to Morrow, but he is driven back for a loss on the play. David Pelly, the big fella, busts right through and shuts him down.
You take a look at the defensive line has been pretty good at containing Morrow when he has got the touches. Not a lot of touches in the first half, but when he has, they really no run holes. He's got some veterans up front in the interior of the offensive line in Johnson, Godber, and Furlan, but haven't won the battle up there just yet.
2nd and 7. Quick toss to Bain, looking for some space on that far sideline, but he is pushed out of bounds. Morgan involved in that. Ty Gray steps up from his corner spot as well. They're certainly trying to get Sean Bain involved in different ways in this offense. 3 catches for Walker. Winicke's got a couple as well. Korsak set to hammer this one down the field. Kyron Moore waiting for it at the 10. Korsak. Oh, it's sort of a side kick that gets scooped up by Moore after 48 yards. And he'll take that up to the 25 and no further. Kevin Brown, part of an emotional evening here to start the game for the Edmonton Elks and their fans. You'll see 25 in both end zones. And it was a sad offseason. Christian Salisbury passed away. Brown carrying that flag out to start the game. His family in attendance here as well, and given a game jersey of the young man who was sadly killed in the offseason. Really provided a spark last year for this group in the return game, and they were very excited about him. Made some great relationships with Kevin Brown and Dylan Mitchell, and honored very well earlier here tonight.
Yeah, it really was. He played 7 games. He was 25 years old, and yet another victim of gun violence in the United States. Just heartbreaking. It's West Alabama, and his mother Melissa, his father Vince, sister Caitlin, and his grandmother Irma here as the team is thinking about him. There's a sticker on a decal on their helmet with the 25, and it's just such a positive influence both on and off the field, in the locker room, and he will be missed, but a very nice tribute before the game started.
They had Brown in the running game and Mitchell in the passing game last year, and then Salisbury in the return game that had a lot of people excited. He actually averaged more yards per punt return than anybody in Edmonton in the last 25 years. So they were excited about it, but rest in peace, the age of 25, Christian Salisbury. Nothing here for the Elks this time, set up in a 3rd and 11. Julian waiting to boot this away, and you feel like these special teams are going to play a huge role in this game the rest of the way. Mario Alford almost took one back to start this half. High kick hanging up there. Bobbled briefly, but he's able to haul it in, and he's wrapped up just outside the 41. The Edmonton Elks returning without Christian Salisbury. 72-footer for Eagle. Making history of something we haven't seen in a long time. Congratulations to Nick Taylor, who probably rushed home to watch the Riders and Elks tonight. So he's probably watching right now, but what a phenomenal finish there.
And a good finish by Dwayne Thompson, the rookie halfback playing for the Elks right now, to get out there in a hurry, because it looked like there was something here. That ball outside to Brescison, and if he gets that and can turn the corner, you get about 10, 15, but not, Dwayne Thompson said, not a chance.
Just a single, so 2nd and 9. 4 options out to the wide side right for Harris. Looks there first. Now he's going to take off. Guns one in there low up to midfield. Bain is saying he's got it. And they will agree.
A little bit of argument from the Elks as far as that ball. They felt that it touched the turf, but no hesitation by the officials. The hands were under. Good catch by Bain, 11-yarder.
Team leading 4th catch of the game for the former Calgary Stampeder. 1st and 10 on the Riders 53. Harris near side, drops it in there neatly. And that will be another 1st down. Back to Bain again. So heavy involvement in the newcomer.
Darius Bratton now, again, the rookie's really prominent tonight in the secondary for the Elks. He's trying to cut underneath. He thought he might have a shot at an interception, but watch the veteran and Trevor Harris just lead him out there. Put it out in front of Bain. Go ahead and cut underneath that. He had another 3-4 yards in the sideline. He turns the corner and scores.
11 more for Bain. Harris gets rid of this one quickly. Has another completion. This time it's Winicky who will be wrapped up by Darius Bratton.
You feel like Trevor Harris getting in a bit of a groove here, a bit of a zone. 3 receivers again, and this time it's number 1, Winicky. Nice little route there. A couple of jab steps just to hold off Bratton.
3 consecutive 11-yard completions for Trevor Harris. And the Riders are marching down to the Elk 35. Harris throwing again. And it's back into the hands of Bain, who gets about 5 before he's eventually taken down. But second and manageable coming up here for Harris.
Key to a play like this is the first couple of blocks up front. Darrell Walker's got to get one. If Bain's going to come back and around, you've got to see at least one block right at the point of attack. So if you're not willing to do that as a receiver, there's no chance for this play. And he does a nice job on Ed Gainey.
Harris on the run, finds Winicky. First down, takes it down just shy of the 15, and flags flying at the end of the play.
Great managing of the pocket here for Trevor Harris. He immediately in his sight line will see where the defense is going. There's
Make
the
a foul,
inside rush here.
tackle, Edmonton, number 0. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
We'll see that penalty in just a second, but he saw that lane. He manages the pocket and steps up.
Purifoy with the horse collar right there.
And that is a penalty. It doesn't have to be inside the harness.
Doesn't have to be up top.
No, it does not. You grab the top of the jersey and pull him backwards, you're going to get a horse call.
Third trip to the red zone today for the Riders. First and goal from the Edmonton 8. Harris on the move to his right again. Purifoy coming, gets it away, but he falls incomplete. Looking for Brescison, but he couldn't haul it in.
I think the number 1 target here for Trevor Harris was Jamal Morrow, but he gets picked up and is covered pretty well. Is it Adam Konar that takes him out of the backfield? I believe. That takes away his number 1 option. And now he's just scrambling, trying to make it happen.
8th play of the drive for Harris and Saskatchewan. From the Edmonton 8, some pressure, gets it away. Brescison wrapped up immediately by McConzo.
Are they going to mark this? Is it the 1 or the 2?
Looks like the 3 is where that ball will be placed.
Yeah, it is, and that's a good spot. That is the exact spot, it looks like.
And they will bring out
2.5 yard line.
Lothar. Missed from deeper earlier. Had a 13-yarder that he hit. This one from 11 in tight. And he puts that one through. And the Riders climb back on top. Elks defense holds, but the Riders get 3.
Didn't have one until yesterday. Harris ambushed him.
15 seconds. A brand new nickname. It's going to be butt sniffer.
Oh, God.
This is for real. So you got any nickname in the world you want?
The 1, that's it.
Give me a nickname you've ever had. Ready?
The 1, that's it.
The 1?
The 1.
The
1, not the 2.
Yeah, so like Neo from The Matrix, Darrell Walker, forever to be known by Trevor Harris as the 1. He did better than others, guys.
I appreciate the Matrix reference. That's exactly where I was headed. The 1.
I like it. I like it. Leonidas, I mean, we are Sparta.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. That's nice.
That's something Lenny has been waiting forever to say, right? Pick your own nickname. Leonidas. Done.
On the injured list tonight, by the way, Brent Lenius, unfortunately, hurt in that Winnipeg preseason game. But that's a cool way to do it. Now everyone's got their nicknames.
Bring the group together. Cornelius down the field for Arsenault. And he's not able to hang on. Arsenault has been involved a little bit tonight in this offense, an Edmonton offense that's kind of stalled out here in the third quarter, Glenn.
Well, his nickname, Manny Show. Manny Show. I mean, it's not really a nickname. It's Manny.
Yeah, well, and the corn dog. That's what people call Cornelius.
Yeah,
corn dog. So he said that for a while. I asked him about it. He said he's okay with it. He's okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you love it. If you've got a nickname in the room, it's the term of endearment. It's because you're in. You know, you're in the club.
Julian with the kick. Alford bobbles it, but he's able to hop on. So Trevor Harris dishing out nicknames to everybody, allowing them to pick their own nicknames, including our very own Ryan Rashog. Let's find out.
Actually, you know what? It's your time.
Right now, this is
how
much time do I have left?
You got 12 seconds, butt sniffer.
So I've never been called it before.
Yep. Any nickname in the world. Beast mode, animal, anything you want.
Glue guy.
Glue guy?
Yeah.
That's a great name. Glue guy.
Thanks, man.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you, Sheriff.
So for the rest of your life, your nicknames would be Glue guy.
Glue guy.
Yeah. So
I think I might have just made a mistake.
I'm pretty sure he probably has some worse ones. Here's Harris. He'll hand it off. And let's send it down to Glue Guy.
Let's go down to Glue Guy.
Well, I'm clearly not a starter. I'd be up there in the booth. I'm more like a teams guy. But I'm the guy that's like, I bring everyone together on the team. I host the team parties. I make sure everyone gets home safe. Like, that's who I am, right, guys?
I like that. I like that.
That's kind of my thing.
Is it Crazy Glue or Elmer's or what are we talking about?
You know what? Hey, this is to the whole crew. First round at Sherlock's on me after the game.
Oh,
Glue guy.
Glue guy.
Glue guy.
Glue guy's the MVP.
Wow. Comes up clutch.
No doubles. No doubles.
Well, I won't be coming then. There's a handoff to Morrow. He pushes it up, and that'll bring up. Have you ever given yourself your own nickname?
No. That's a unique and different way to do it. And
can you call me T-Bone? Can you get some T-Bone love?
Well,
like
if you want me to call you T-Bone,
no, I don't.
Then it's not going to be T-Bone.
It's not going to be T-Bone.
Maybe pork chop.
Yeah, pork chop. 3rd and 1 here with time ticking down in the third. And this ball is inside the Riders' 40. And Patterson is into the game to keep the offense on the field. Patterson pushing ahead. Crawls over top of the pile. But has enough for a Rider first down as the clock ticks away here towards the 4th.
Yeah, that's been quite the competition through camp. Shea Patterson, Mason Fine, Jake Dolegala on the injured list, and they go with Mason Fine as the backup. Shea Patterson will take the short yardage duties, and
he's staying in to run a play here as well. Final play of the third quarter. We saw this a little bit in the preseason. They like to get him in here and have him run that ball a little bit. Looks like he wants to throw here, and that's exactly what he'll do. Winicky couldn't haul it in. Darius Bratton coming around to make the play against Jake. And that'll be a 2nd and 10 to start the 4th quarter with Dustin Nielsen, Glenn Suter, and the Glue Guy. Riders on the road with a 14-13 lead in Edmonton. And they're pretty even outside of the Riders generating twice as many first downs.
Yeah, they got more first downs, and they got the running backs. Both teams got the running backs involved more in that third quarter. And, you know, again, I don't want to overstate it, but this is an important game for both teams. I mean, the Elks trying to snap that losing streak at home that goes way back. Saskatchewan trying to get off to a great start. It's an excellent crowd here. They're saying close to 30 or just over 30,000. And, you know, they'll be back. They want to see a competitive team. And this one is competitive. Game on the line. 1 quarter to go. 1-point football game.
Trevor Harris with the ball. His 2nd and 10 on his own 39. Harris thought about taking off, but he's wrapped up. Serezna was there. And he goes for a roll past the referee this time. AC Leonard in on it as well. And a big play by the Elks defense.
We've seen Trevor Harris a couple of times in this game already just step up, and he made that big play when he was down in his own 2-yard line. And this is an adjustment that Edmonton has made defensively. They open it up, but Serezna makes sure that he's going to fold back underneath. That's where Harris has wanted to escape. He's been successful in the first half. They shut that door there.
Korsak stands in. Likely let this fly from just around his own 25. That's Kyron Moore in the distance at the top of your screen, waiting for this kick. Moore takes it after 52 yards in the air. Kyron Moore wrapped up just shy of the 35. And Glenn mentioned the crowd here today. And this is a team that hasn't won at home since 2019, but pretty good numbers here today, and a little bit of fan fest yesterday to get things going here. A chance to get out and meet the team, Glenn.
Yeah, great turnout, and I know walking up to Commonwealth earlier tonight, the tailgating was going off in the parking lot. It was, trying to get that fan base back out and excited about this team. And we talked about Taylor Cornelius being right at that turning point, and about year 3 is when most quarterbacks, there's exceptions, but most quarterbacks start to get it right around year 3. Now, can he finish?
Has the ball here. They'll hand it off to Brown. Brown has nowhere to go. Some pushing and shoving at the end of the play.
I don't want to overstate this again, but the importance for this game, it's hard to say that when it's week 1. I mean, they come out of training camp. There's 17 more games to go. But there's a graphic that demonstrates the importance to Edmonton. 17 straight. I mean,
last year, they allowed about 13 more points per game than they scored. Like last year was tough. Pressure now from the Riders. Cornelius gets it away just in time, looking for Mitchell. That intercepted on the far sideline. Roland Milligan, what a play, and the Riders take over.
Roland Milligan steps up and makes, so far, the play of the game to swap the field real quick. Pressure coming off the edge from Saskatchewan, and Milligan's playing that halfback spot. Watch how he just baits Eugene Lewis. He's going to let him go and think that he's open on that out, but he breaks downhill, undercuts the route, and because of that experience that he has, he gets there with confidence. There's the pressure from Pete Robertson off the edge.
What a play by Milligan. Steps in underneath. Gino Lewis takes that ball away. Now back onto the ground. This time it's Hickson. A decent chunk on first down.
You have to, Dustin, you have to have confidence to do this. And, with the season he had last year, Milligan has that confidence. That was pretty much on time from Taylor Cornelius to his top receiver in Lewis. CFL All-Star, and just shaves underneath it. Milligan makes a play. Sometimes the defense wins.
Cornelius shaking his head. Cornelius is 8 of 20 for 160 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The other interception was at the end of the first half when they were just chucking it up towards the end zone. Dalkey got him that time. This time, Milligan had 1 interception last year. Got another one now. Harris has that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and that will bring up 3rd down. So the Elks defense is able to make a stand here.
They're pretty good in that interior of that defense. The Edmonton defensive line. Serezna's made a couple plays off the edge, but that interior of the defensive line has limited the run game, and this time they get their hands up and knock it down.
Damon Pelly, supplemental draft pick a couple of years back. Chris Jones loves him. We've got an injured rider down on the field. Right tackle Eric Lofton. Riders' offensive line already a little banged up. Lofton is up and will run off to the sideline. Lots of pressure on that offensive line after last year allowing the number of sacks that they did, 77, 24 more than anyone else.
Yeah, and they tried to make some changes, made some changes, and then had some injuries in the preseason. This is a big kick for Brett Lawler. He's off to a shaky start for a veteran in the preseason.
His one miss was pushed out to the right. Lawler this time, and it's dead on right down the middle. And the Riders lead creeps up to 4, 17-13. Had a miss earlier in the game, but the veteran money here in the fourth. And for that, we go to Gino Lewis. Bouncing around a little bit in the pregame. Whatever he did, Glenn, it worked, didn't it?
102 yards. Goodbye. Chilling in the end zone after that.
Not had a catch since that touchdown. Cornelius quickly a completion on cue to Gino Lewis for a first down.
Yeah, coverage that both Gino Lewis and Taylor Cornelius recognized at the same time with Amari Henderson playing high. He was playing the deep outside third in that zone look, and
so that's an automatic.
That's an automatic read for quarterback and receiver.
Up to the 52. They'll fake the handoff. Get it out there. That pass hauled in by Lewis as well. So an offense that had stalled a bit here in the second half. How do you get it revved back up?
87.
Bingo.
Yeah. Get the All-Star. Get the All-Star involved. See just a couple of strides and he gets outside of the defenders.
Made that look easy too, kind of a little bit behind.
Had to reach back, but that's what he said. He's eraser. Erase the little mistakes.
Almost 140 receiving yards. Now Brown up the middle. About a few yards before he's driven back. Looks like they'll give him about 4 or 5.
You know, both teams defensively have really shut down the tackle-to-tackle run game. You know, Edmonton's tried it. They've had a couple of plays from Kevin Brown. For the most part, whether it's Kevin Brown or Jamal Morrow, it's Jason Shivers, the defensive coordinator, and he got the inside of the defensive line playing pretty well.
And Brown had a 24-yarder on a push to the outside.
It was a wide run, yeah.
2nd and 6. Pressure from the Riders. Cornelius gets it away. And that is held onto by Arsenault. And he's got a first down to the Rider 30.
Talk about leadership. This is what I always just jumps to me when I see Manny Arsenault go to work. I mean, first of all, playing at a high level, still can get behind you, but I love the second effort. That'll inspire his teammates. Second effort, pick up another 7, turn 7 into 14, and then get up and let's go. Let's finish.
Outside of Gino Lewis with 5 catches, Arsenault's the only other Elk to have multiple catches tonight.
He's a glue guy.
He is a glue guy.
What about the other glue guy?
Here's Cornelius again with some time, and that one off the body of Mitchell, but there's a flag back by Cornelius, and it's a hold against Edmonton.
Boy, just a little bit of the disappointment look in Dylan Mitchell.
Edmonton, number 65. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Mark Cordy, the center. Mitchell has just 1 catch, and it was for -5 yards when he got
hit. Yeah, he got hit hard and
left the game briefly.
He was back after 3 plays, but he was open. He had leverage on that crossing, that deep post crossing route. Although it would have come back anyway at the holdup.
1st and 20, a long way here for Edmonton. Cornelius pocket on the run to the right. Throws the ball to Brown, and he hangs on. That's a rather exciting 5-yard pickup and nothing more as the Riders all over it. A.J. Allen in on the tackle.
Yeah, I agree with Jim Barker on our panel when he talked about at halftime the contact, the physicality of this game. I mean, you know, you don't ease into it. You're playing hard always, even in week 1, coming out of training camp. But this has been a different level for a week 1 game in the physicality department.
Nobody's complaining, are they?
No, not a chance.
2nd and 15 this time for Cornelius. More pressure from the Riders. Cornelius in trouble, and they're going to wrap him up. A huge loss on top of it as the Riders defense comes barreling right through. Miles Brown, I believe, the first to get home.
He wanted to go deep. He was trying to load it up with that blitz and hit the deep route. I think it was Stephen Dunbar was the target that he wanted. And Dunbar's getting a run here, and then he just takes off down the seam. That's the one he wanted, and that's the race. Can you get home as the quarterback? Can you get to the quarterback before he can unload it to that deep route? Saskatchewan won the race.
Robertson and Brown both getting there. Julian now standing at midfield as this creeps towards a field possession type of game. Julian, a high kick, drops it in there. Alford takes it. Decent coverage down the field to contain one of the most dangerous men in the Canadian Football League. Trevor Harris with a lead and just over 7 to play. Welcome back to Commonwealth, everyone. Riders and Elks coming right down to the wire here. Saskatchewan will get the ball back, 1st and 10. On their own 14, Darrell Walker and Eugene Lewis with a couple of touchdowns in their debuts. Harris turns it over. Intercepted by Niles Morgan. Trevor Harris was stumbling and tried to throw it, and Morgan was there to take it away.
Yeah, he got tripped up or was stumbling and was throwing it on the way down. And they've seen this play before. In the first half, it was run. Morrow comes out on the fake. There's a fake inside, and he wasn't tripped. So he just was kind of on his own going down and tried to sling it in there, sidearm across the body, moving to his right, back into the middle. And didn't see the linebacker, Niles Morgan, coming from inside out.
Morgan missing most of last season, but was described as a player who's one of their best defenders. Now here's Moore, and he'll get down to the 20. A long way to run for just a few yards to pick up. Milligan there on the play.
No, but an attempt to get outside.
Yeah.
We talked about the tackle-to-tackle run game being kind of shut down for both teams. It's a big play by Morgan now. Can Edmonton capitalize with the major?
He was their most outstanding rookie back in 2021.
That's an example of how footwork is so intertwined with the throwing accuracy of a quarterback. If the footwork's off, so is the throw.
For just a yard on 1st down, so 2nd and 9. Cornelius with time, looking down towards the end zone, and a flag on the play. Milligan was working against Lewis. Did Lewis hold Milligan as he tried to turn back to that ball?
I wonder, because he was coming downhill, wasn't he? And it looked like they were both sort of hand fighting.
Looks like it's against the Riders.
Nick Marshall's trying to argue that, and Lewis is saying, no. I did see some hand fighting watching it live.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan, number 0. Not about a 1st down.
Holding that left arm in, or was it a little grab on the hip?
Well,
right there?
Yeah, I think they're both going back and forth with the hand. I'm not sure that should draw a penalty flag. There was a little grab around the waist. That's going to be half. There's a challenge. I think Craig Dickinson wants another look. It just doesn't seem like enough. Like if you're both hand fighting, they're going to let that happen. If you, as a defensive back, if you grab the hand and turn the receiver or impede the receiver, then you get the flag. And then that can happen offensively if the receiver impedes Milligan to the ball with the hand grab. I thought the hand fighting back and forth shouldn't have been enough to pull.
So then does it come down to the weak little grab on the hip?
That's
but that was there. Like Milligan seemed like right away as soon as he went to do it, he sort of stopped.
Well, you got to go back and look at that one. If we look at that one again,
Saskatchewan is provided with extra information. Legal contact upgraded to pass interference. Therefore, they've taken away their challenge. It's first down.
So the contact is what the call was. The contact around the waist, it wasn't the hand fighting, because that was going to be illegal contact past 5 yards. Because that was past 5 yards and that contact was made, that flag was illegal contact, upgraded to PI because the ball was thrown to Eugene Lewis.
Challenge flag picked up. Loxley for the lead, trying to push ahead, working his way towards the end zone, and he is denied. Riders defense does the job the first time.
Man, that between the tackles tonight has been like a brick wall
on both sides
for both teams. Like, you want to get a yard from tackle to tackle. Good luck.
No chance. Pete Robertson wrapped him up immediately. And we'll do it again. They line up. Second and goal from the Rider 1. Loxley trying to find a way through, pushing in. Did they stop him again? A second effort. Is that enough?
I don't think he got it.
No. Stopped just short again. What a stand by Saskatchewan.
Immediately, Gino Lewis looked to Chris Jones and signaled that he wants to go. We got to go down here. But again, that's Dalkey. That's Dalkey coming off the edge, the safety. Jaden Dalkey getting first contact on Kai Loxley. That stopped the forward progress, and then that ball came out at the end. He had to scramble to recover it.
Just hammer it down their throat again. Loxley is the third time the charm for Edmonton, or can the Riders defense put together a full denial? Loxley now takes it out.
No,
and
sir.
he's stopped. Roland Milligan is there, and the Riders defense shuts the door. Phenomenal stuff. The Elks come up 0 for 3 from the 1-yard line. Milligan, the final.
Monster play on third down. He's right here, and watch how he slow plays this. There's two guys that can block him. Mitchell coming in motion, or Gino Lewis on the down block. He doesn't get either. He hesitates because he slides outside for a half step and then jumps up and hits Kai Loxley right in the chest on third down.
4 tackles and an interception for Milligan. Now they'll hand it off to Jamal Morrow, and he's got some breathing room. He'll take it out to the 15 before he goes down. A first down and out of harm's way for the Riders with 4 minutes on the clock.
Just a ton of momentum on a goal line stand for your team. Man, that's one of those plays that can just get your team completely fired up, and you see the extension of it on the first play offensively. 3 plays from the 1, and the Rider defense shut the door.
It's the longest carry of the game for 25 in white as Trevor Harris tries to seal this game away. Up to the 17, they'll hand it off again. And diving ahead to take it outside the 25. Jamal Morrow eating up more clock and yards on the way. 8 more yards for Morrow. Sets up just a 2nd and 2.
And the jump and the step of the Elks defense has just died. There's Kelly Jeffrey calling the plays and getting Morrow taking advantage of the Elks with their head down a little bit.
Well, they give it to him again. They do. And Morrow plunges ahead, and that's going to be enough for the first down. Jamal Morrow A nightmare for the Elks right now. 2:50 on the clock.
It's just hard, Dustin. I mean, it's human nature because you're on the 1 yard line, 3 shots to take the lead and don't get it done.
Riders with a lead on the road, trying to wrap this thing up. Does sound exciting, doesn't it? Roland Milligan having himself an excellent night. 1st and 10 for the Riders, 2.5 to play. We'll hand it off again to Morrow. Good second effort. Make sure he gets just beyond the line of scrimmage. That will set up a 2nd and long here for Trevor Harris.
The old saying, right? Football comes down to 6-7 plays. You just don't know which 6 or 7 are going to be the difference. I would suggest this is one of them coming up, and those 3 down on the goal line, big.
That's a big chunk right there. That's 3 of the 6 or 7.
Kelly Jeffrey, he's the offensive coordinator.
The new offensive coordinator. 2nd and 8 for Harris. Can he pick up a 1st down here? Flag on the play, and that will be caught. Now the flag, were the Elks jumping anyway? Was that what that was?
Well, it's early movement. I'm not sure what they called because it was so close off the edge. Was it the right tackle? Or was it early movement? I think it was A.C. Leonard.
Looked like Leonard. And now they will gather together. There was another flag on the far side. Came out a little bit later.
Well, it happens down here. I mean, look at Leonard's out of his stance. He's in that 2-point. And
he's already moving there.
Who moves first? You see the right tackle. Or, excuse me, it's actually Awachi. Albert Awachi, the fullback that was playing tight end there. So he's going to move. Number 41. You see him to your right. Now, is A.C. Leonard in the neutral zone before he moves? He may be trying
offside,
to get...
Edmonton number 6. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a 1st down.
On A.C. Leonard. So they'll take the play, 1st down, and a new set. And this is what matters now for Edmonton. Chris Jones is going to have to send some heat here to try and force a quick turnover.
15-yard pickup. Takes that ball all the way up to the Rider 44. Back to Morrow again. Kicks it to the outside. He's got some room. Morrow takes it down to the 40 and wisely.
He's inbounds. Yep.
Rolls down. What a drive by Jamal Morrow here. 28 yards on that pickup, give him 78 in the game.
Yeah, really took advantage of the momentum gained by the goal line stand by the defense and just went to 25 after that. And we talked about both teams shutting down the interior run game. Well, when they took advantage of that momentum, just, Edmonton had their head down a little bit defensively on those first 2 snaps, and Morrow took advantage of it. Now, already in field goal range to make it a 7-point game if they had to, or I'll kill the clock and get the road win.
Harris slings it out. And that'll be gathered up by Emlis, wrapped up immediately by Kai Gray.
Let's go
with
back
1:21 on the clock.
Sorry, Dustin. Let's go back to that big run for a second because just want to see what happened there for the defense. Again, it was Leonard on the outside, A.C. Leonard. Awachi's coming out the fullback, but he's going the opposite way in the misdirection. I think Leonard and the defensive line just took that half step to their right. And that gave Morrow the corner. But an offside and then losing containment on the outside for A.C. Leonard, the former Rider.
Hickson in the game at running back as Morrow takes a breather. Clock ticks down to a minute. They'll give it to Hickson. Stays on his feet looking for the 1st down. Got it!
That should do it.
Frankie Hickson, the 1-2 punch with Morrow and Hickson. And the Riders driving a dagger into the Elks defense here.
Well, it's just such a game of momentum. It really is. It's such a game of you can inspire your teammates in ways that you just may not realize. But you get a goal line stand and preserve the lead at that moment and then take it all the way down the field and kill the final basically 3 minutes of the game. All on the run. That one should seal the deal.
Well, and he bounced off of Niles Morgan, who had a good look at him. About 5 yards down the field. 131 rushing yards for the Riders. A good chunk of them coming up on this final drive of the game. Back to Hickson. Wrapped up and taken down with 33 seconds on the clock.
And both Jamal Morrow and Frankie Hickson, I'm sure they've been reminded by their coaching staff. But both of those guys staying in bounds. I mean, Morrow a couple of times gave himself up. Could have probably got an extra 2 or 3, but would have got pushed out of bounds and stopped the clock. I mean,
timeout, Edmonton.
That's all part of the process of learning how to win. Edmonton's still got to figure it out. But that's how you learn how to win. Those little details. When Morrow goes down, gives up a couple of times, he stops, he keeps the clock moving, which was more important than that extra 2 or 3 yards after getting first down.
A defensive battle here today at Commonwealth. Riders on top 17-13. What a way for them on the road to start their season. They will return home in week 2 to face the 1-0 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Chris Jones and the Edmonton Elks brought in some weapons offensively, yet here they are in week 1 with just 13 points on the board. Second and 8 for Harris. Clock stopped with that timeout by Edmonton. Gets it to Morrow. And Morrow is taken down after a short pickup. Flag on the play here. That's a hold against the Riders. Frankie Hickson.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 64. Penalties declined. It's third down.
Doing a great job on this drive to wrap this game up for the Riders. That penalty will be declined. It'll bring up third down with 28 seconds on the clock. A 3rd and 6 situation.
Now, this has really nothing to do with football ops for Edmonton or anything, or the coaching staff or the players, but be a bunch of Edmonton fans that are coming free next home game.
Yeah, they had that section here that was guaranteed win night at Commonwealth. If they didn't win tonight, they got that same ticket 2 weeks from now against the Argos. Here's Harris on 3rd and 6. Harris rolling out to his right, throws it down towards the end zone, and that will fall incomplete. Harris is hurt, and he is down in a lot of pain, trying to get up, and kind of reaching towards his side or back, isn't he?
I just really do not understand why Saskatchewan decides to
what were they doing there?
Roll their quarterback out with just a handful of seconds to go to throw it deep. I mean, there's the thought of the head-to-head if it comes down to it 20 weeks from now. But you're putting your quarterback in harm's way one time when you just absolutely do not have to.
A bizarre decision, to say the least. Trevor is up, gingerly walking off the field. 2 seconds on the clock. The only touchdown the Elks have in this game happened to be a 102-yarder.
Well, 87, I would take a look at him. Over here to the wide field.
Final play of the ball game for Cornelius. In trouble, and he's not even going to get the ball off. wrapped up and taken down by the Riders defense. 5th sack of the game for Saskatchewan's defense, and that'll seal up a Saskatchewan 17-13 road victory in week 1.
Well-fought game, very physical game, important to both teams. The game was decided on the 1-yard line going in for the Elks when Saskatchewan's defense, 3 straight down, shut the door.
A 4-1 start for the Riders last season. They get their first win in week 1 this season. Trevor Harris victorious in his Riders debut. The Edmonton Elks continue to look for answers. Eugene Lewis, as advertised, almost 150 yards and a touchdown for Edmonton, but it simply wasn't enough as their offense stalled out and then was stopped 3 times at the goal line by the Riders D, who came to play in a heavy way today and come away with a tight victory on the road against Edmonton, where the losing streak now hits 18 consecutive losses at home for Edmonton. 17-13, your final. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Sports Center is next.